kept your filings nice and clean, but you don't have enough to send away for refining, and you've got this big job coming up, and you don't have money to buy gold, what do you do? Well, in today's video, I'll be showing you. So, you've got a lot of filings, kept it nice and clean, most of the crud out of it, and it's all 9 carat. Today, I'll show you how to recover those filings and get it back into a metal bar. And this is how we're going to do it. I'm the Chunky Jeweler. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to clean and remelt your filings step by step. The first things we're going to need is the following. The first thing you want to do is take a piece of paper, place it down, grab your filings, shake out all your filings onto the paper, get it all spread out nice and flat, and then you take your magnet and you run your magnet through your filings. You run the magnet through the filings just to catch any metal or steel bits of broken drill bits, saw blades. When you file, some of your file bits come off, and that can go into your filings as well. So it's best to do it as thorough as possible. So you can see there. So that's metal filings stuck on the magnet. Tap it to get the excess off. I usually like to go nice little circular motions, stir it up a bit, try and make sure you get through everything. And take your time with this. If it takes a half an hour, take a half an hour. If it takes 10 minutes, take 10 minutes. But as long as you are confident you don't have any more metal in your filings, that should be sufficient. I actually sell this as gold dust art. So again, a little bit more filings, metal shavings to it. Get my lovely assistant to clean it for me again. Okay, we'll pass the magnet through the filings one more time, and I think we should be good to go. Yeah, that's very minimal. I don't think we'll get any more out of that. The rest would probably just evaporate when we melt it, because the gold does melt at a higher temperature than the steel. So the next thing is we'll just add a bit of borax. Not too much, just enough. That should do it, or maybe a smidge more for luck. The borax, what that does is it helps with, or it aids with the melting of the filings, and obviously with the pouring of the metal once it's molten. I also like to add a little bit of saltpeter, and this is a fairly close guarded trade secret. It's a saltpeter. If you ever have gold that's cracking, you add a bit of saltpeter and you remelt it, or when you remelt it, you add a bit of saltpeter, and 95% of the time that'll eliminate any cracking on your metal, especially on 9 carat. So that's why I add the saltpeter. Prevention is better than cure. So what you do, just shake it all up, try not to spill it out over the paper. Get it all nice and mixed. That should do. I'll put that to the side for a minute, and we'll grab our tissue. And what you want to do is place it nice and flat. get your filings, slowly pour it into the tissue, get all the excess of the paper, put the paper to one side, and now you want to fold the tissue in over the filing, in on itself over the filings. Bring it up to the points, all 4 points together, creating a little cradle, almost like your, looks like a little poop bag. And what you want to do is very carefully and very gently tighten the tissue around the filings. Get it as tight as possible, but be careful so it doesn't burst open at the bottom. So once you have it nice and tight, I don't know what I do, just cut that excess off, like so. There you go, we're still good. Almost a slight little tear there, but we can get by with that. It's not too bad. So I'll take a little bit of methylated spirits and just let that sit in there for a second. Let it soak up all the meths. It is. So what the meths or methylated spirits does, and I'll show you in a minute, when you place your filings into the crucible, first thing you do, you light the tissue, and that will burn off any excess sandpaper, any other crud that's in there, the pieces of wood from a bench bin, any nasties, piece of fingernail, hair, that's eyelashes that's fallen in there, burn all that sort of stuff off. So that's the reason for that. And it also, along with the borax and the saltpeter, causes the filings to cake up a bit and it clumps together, and that's what you need for the melting process. Because when you melt it, you've got to be careful, and I'll show you that step in a minute. You don't want a flame that's too strong, because then you'll end up blowing your filings all over the place and you'll probably lose like 10 or 15% of your filings in that way. So let's head on over to our crucible. I know I've shown you a new crucible, but I'll be using my old one. You want a dedicated crucible for this sort of stuff, because if there's still a bit of metal in the filings and it ends up getting stuck in the crucible, so next time when you melt new gold, that metal might contaminate your new metal, and you don't try and avoid that. So let's head on over to the smelting place and then we'll get this puppy lit. So grab our filings, place it in the crucible. If there's any left over methylated spirits, you're welcome to pour that on there. Please be careful if you've got any methylated spirits on your fingers. Dry it off, wash your hands first before you try to attempt to light this filings, because your fingers will catch fire. There we go. So what we'll do, just making sure the flame is not too close to the camera, we'll let this burn for at least 2 to 3 minutes. And I might speed up this part of the video just so you can actually see the full effect, because that's a very important step in melting your filings. So let's speed it up now. So when you start noticing the charring on the tissue, that's an indication that it's very close to being ready and that the methylated spirits is all mostly burned away. So what you want to do, grab your torch with your melting nozzle and only open your oxygen, not your gas. And what you're going to do, very slowly start blowing air or oxygen onto the filings. And this is just to speed up the burning process and make the flame the fire a little bit hotter, to get rid of all the excess sandpaper and stuff that's in there. And if you look closely, you might see how the filings is now just about caking together, and it's just paper that's burning away. So you just do this also for roughly 2 to 5 minutes until you can see that the flame or the heat is traveling all the way through the filings. And don't be too concerned if it starts breaking away a bit. It's not a grain smash. Your biggest concern is not to have any, or not too much of the filings blow away. And you can see all the metal shards sparking off, the little bits that we missed with the magnet. Okay, so we'll let that be. We'll move that to one side for just a second. Get our ingot ready. Bring this back. And I think we are ready to melt. Simply make sure your ingot is nice and warm. I'm going to apply a little bit of oil to prevent the metal from sticking to the ingot. Get everything nice and lined up. All nice and aligned. Keep your flame quite a distance away from the filing. We don't have too much air flowing over the filings and blowing all the dust away. And what you want to do is get those flux to melt, and that'll keep all the filings together. And just slowly go in circular motion, but a fair distance away from the filings, and slowly you'll see, or you'll notice, that the filings are starting to melt in small little balls, and those balls will start to attach to each other. And this is what you want to do, is just wait for all that melting, for that melting process to happen. Like you can see there, it's a bit. A little bit has already started to melt. So slow circular motion, backwards and forwards. And you'll notice in a minute why I said you'll have to keep this crucible for this purpose alone. You'll accumulate a lot of flux in the crucible, and you don't want to reuse it for fresh gold. Just take it around to collect all the bits of stuff on the side. So there might be some little balls of gold floating in the flux itself, and you're going to try and collect as much as you can to avoid having any wastage. There's a little ball stuck in the edge that I know if I'm going to try and get that, I might stall the rest of it. So I'll just collect that right at the end before the flux hardens. So you should be golden. Pardon the pun, not pardon the pun. Okay, so that looks good. It's still a little bit floating around. I'll take the flame away and get a close up all this golden stuff on the sides there. And we'll try and collect most of that. So what you want to do is handy tip, when you melt filings, keep a crucible for your 9-carat filings, your 18-carat filings, white gold filings. You collect this and mix around again. So let's do our pour. Look at that. So I'll remove that. Oops. And we'll place it down over here. Let that cool down. And then we'll drop it in the acid, let it sit in the acid for a bit. And I'll give it a quick polish and show you the color. See you in a minute. So we've gone and given the bar a bit of a polish just to check the color, and I must say I'm quite happy with the way it turned out. So no processing, just straight from pouring. That's your 9-karat gold from filings. So we had how much filings?
18.9 grams.
So 18.9 grams before we started. I haven't weighed this yet, so just let's see. So 16.1 grams, 16 grams finished, which is not really too bad if you ask me, because you obviously we had all those impurities in there,
And there's a few pieces still in the melting.
and there's those little balls, little gold bubbles still stuck in the crucible. But if you are desperate, if you're desperate for gold on a weekend and you can't get your hands on gold, and you do have your filings that's been kept separate, this is how you can get it sorted. Get it melted down, melt those filings, clean them up, and get started with your next project, and get some money in your pocket. And that's what it's all about. Well, there you have it, folks. Hopefully this could help you out when you're in a bind next and you're in desperate need for gold and you don't know what to do, and you've been keeping your filings separate. Then you might be able to follow these steps and melt your filings and get some gold on hand very quickly. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please smash that like button. Please consider subscribing to the channel. We try and create educational videos around jewelry for jewelers and for anyone who's trying to learn more about jewelry on a weekly basis. I know I've been slacking for the last month or so, but we're back on track and we'll be posting regularly every week. And we've got a couple of nice ideas in mind, a couple of nice videos coming up. And yeah, so all that's left to do is to say thank you for watching. We really appreciate you. Keep creating. Chunky Jeweler out.